Do you know that feeling when on New Year's Eve you're convinced this is gonna be your year? Just because you can feel it, or because you watch so many TikToks about how 2025 is gonna be your year that you're like 100% sure. And then by mid-January, you're like, yeah, maybe next year. This could be the year that you actually stick to your resolutions. And I say could be because the only person responsible for it happening or not happening is you. So first things first, just because you set those New Year resolutions, you have them written down somewhere in your notes app or in your drawer, you are more likely to achieve them than the people who didn't write those resolutions. And that's roughly 50% of people. Maybe that fact will make you feel better about yourself. I don't know, because from now on, there will be no patting on the back. It's gonna just be some solid advice. So pat yourself on the back for writing those resolutions and just let's keep rolling. That is the weirdest thing I had to say. Keep rolling what? I'm filming a movie or something? But the thing is, by only writing your New Year's resolutions, your goals in your notes or a little notebook and stuffing them in drawer won't really achieve them. And I think by now you already know this. But we're so used to writing those New Year's resolutions and putting them somewhere in a dark hole or drawer or whatever, and then taking them, reading them on 30th of December and be like, maybe next year is gonna be my year. But the thing is, writing them is not enough. I, for example, 2 years in a row, my New Year resolutions were to learn how to do splits and to juggle. Needless to say, I know how to do none of them. I set those two resolutions in 2021 and in 2022, and when time came to write down my New Year's resolutions for 2023, I didn't write those because I didn't really want to do that. Like, I didn't really want to do splits and juggle. I thought I did, but I really didn't. My lack of action showed that I didn't really want to do it. And hey, I'm not saying like quit everything that you never put action to and like strike out all the resolutions from your list that you have not put action to, because there are a lot of resolutions people write for decades and they never grab them. Like, for example, I want to learn foreign language, and they write that resolution for 10 years, download Duolingo, and then like, I have no time, I have no time. And some of those resolutions that we put no action to is actually a pretty good sign to just take them away, some of them, because most of the resolutions on your goal list for this year are not yours. You don't really want them, as if to buy a new phone or run a marathon or something like that. There are so many goals, and those two goals were also not mine. I don't really want them. If I did, I would put some action towards it, but I didn't really want them, and I just didn't put them on my next year's resolution list, because I realized that it's not me who wanted to do those things. That society, I had, TikTok, that people were juggling or doing splits. I know, I have a pretty weird TikTok, or like it was 2 years ago, I don't know. And for now, so many people want to run marathons, or to, buy that phone, or those headphones, or start reading, And so many people, you could feel prone to like, oh, I should start reading this year. Like, I feel it's my year for reading because there's a lot of recommendations and stuff like that, and you're like, I'm gonna read 50 books this year, totally, and run marathon and buy the phone that I don't really want, and maybe play that instrument that I don't really care about. It's not gonna be useful for me because I'm not really interested in music, but so many people are doing it. That is called bandwagon effect. When we want something just because other people are doing it, or because other people wanting that thing. For example, Uggs. There's so many people wearing Uggs. I think in the fashion sense, American TikTok is the first one to like influence the people in Europe and so on. And in America, Uggs became popular like 2 years, 3 years ago. In Europe, they are becoming popular only now, and I see people everywhere walking around in those Uggs, and I'm like, sure, yeah. And that says for everything, for the way people, behave, use words, want things, have an idea of what they want from their life. Maybe it's not what they want from their life. Maybe it's something they saw on the internet and they like, oh, that would be cute to be a lawyer just because of this edit on TikTok, you know? So the first thing you have to do is you have to take the journal that you have your 2025 resolution goals set in and think of them, on each of them. Like, if no one would ever find out I achieved this goal, would I still want to achieve it? That is how you know whether you want to achieve that goal or you want society to see you achieve that goal. You want them to see that you ran that marathon. You want them to see that, see, I got that phone. You want them to see that, you know, you just want to boast or whatever. So this is the first step. Just look over your 2025 resolution or whatever year you're watching this in and just ask this question to each of those resolutions. If no one would see me and know and like could never find out that I achieved this goal, would I still want to achieve it? The next one is be specific. We put so many things on our New Year's resolution list. Maybe even if you don't put a lot of resolutions, I think we're all prone to be like very vague with them. Like, oh, I want to be healthier. I want to be fitter. I want to be happier. I want to be wealthier. All those that are ending in ER, and they are so vague. That is the same way if I came to the restaurant and they're like, what can I get you? And I'm like, I came here to get full. And they're like, yeah, obviously, but could you be more specific? Like, there is the whole menu and like drinks and we have that and roast. What do you want? You know, be specific. It's obvious that you came to a restaurant to get full, to eat, but be a little bit more specific. The same way you have to be more specific with your goals. If, for example, you want to be healthier, what does it mean? What does it mean being healthier for you? Is it cutting on your midnight snacks, drinking more water, going to the gym more often, or starting going to the gym, or running, or I don't know, walking to your school or work, or like, I don't know, cycling to your work or something like that? What does it mean being healthier for you? The same way is with anything you said. You have to be specific, because if you're not, you're just gonna be floating around, and then on 30th of December you're like, this year was definitely not for me. Yeah, this year was not it. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't. Next year is gonna be lit though. It's gonna be, no, it's not. If we're gonna keep writing down goals like, oh, I wanna be happier, I wanna travel, maybe I wanna travel, you know, there's even that uncertainty. The reason why we set those vague goals is because we're not certain. Like, oh, maybe I'd like to travel the world. Maybe I don't know if I can do that, but like maybe I'd like to read like 20ish, 50ish books. I'd like to be happier. It doesn't really sound confident. You have to have a plan for it to happen. You cannot just write down, oh, I want to be wealthier, and then the next day you're like, oh, won the lottery. Or like, oh, build the business just because I wrote that I want to be wealthier. It doesn't work like that. You have to have a plan. If, for example, you have a whole year to apply to colleges and you're like, nah, you know, our brain likes to leave everything for the last minute. We're like, oh, we have so much time, you know, the whole year to apply to colleges. Oh my God, what do I have to do? Like a few things, doesn't matter. And there's 2 weeks, like few weeks until admission deadline, and you're like, oh my God, I have to write personal essay, all the essays for each college. I have to pass SATs, and you're like, why didn't I do more volunteering or helping out? They would look so good on my application and so on. And there's also option number 2. You know that you have a year until the deadline to apply to colleges, and you're like, okay, make a plan for 3 months to, on the first month, you're like writing each essay for each college, then you prepare for SAT, you know, just make a plan and then relax, sit back and relax. It's not going to be stressful. It's going to be less stressful. It's going to, you know, help you so much. And you're like sitting back, relaxing and enjoying a break. And you know what? Yes, it's not fun making plans. Having a plan is not fun. Writing a plan is not fun either. And sticking to that plan is as dull as it's gonna get, but it's necessary. Without a plan, we would just float around, and we actually do. When you have no plan, for example, when you're writing a to-do list without any timestamps, you feel overwhelmed, like you will never achieve it. But if you write timestamps, like for example, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and like schedule what you should do in each of those moments of your day, then you would be more productive. The same way is with anything. You have to plan. You want to be healthier. Okay, what does it mean to you? Cutting on your snacks. Okay. Then you want to run a marathon. Okay, so you should focus on that. And you should also break those 2 steps into little steps. You should not go all in and like, okay, next week I'm running a marathon without any experience. No, you break it all into actionable steps, because you're just gonna overwhelm yourself if you're gonna go all in. For example, you snacked for 20 years in a row and you just like, oh, not gonna do that. You know, it doesn't work like that. It's just gonna overwhelm you and you're gonna feel like crap, and you're gonna overeat even more because it stresses you out, and it's not gonna benefit you. It's not gonna benefit you. It's gonna benefit the companies that make those chips. It's not gonna benefit you personally. So we have it locked in, right? Have a plan. The more specific plan, the better. I know it's boring, like sitting there and just writing a plan. And please, just for the love of God, write a plan without any, like, you could put like a meditation music or like relaxing music, but don't put on TV show and write your plan, because it's gonna be so distracting. And I made that mistake so many times when I'm like, okay, it's so boring, you know, this task is so boring, and I'm just like, I'm gonna write something down, and I just close it and never look at it again. I'm like, oh, interesting thing going on in my TV show. Close the notebook and then never get back to that plan again. Because following your dreams, following your goals is not always exciting. Mostly it is not exciting. I mean, at first it is exciting. For example, 6 months ago, I got a guitar, and I bought a guitar without ever playing on one or having a friend who knows how to play a guitar, or, you know, having any experience of playing the guitar. I was really fascinated with people who could play the guitar. I'm like, there's 6 strings. What can you do with 6 strings? How so many melodies can occur with those 6 strings? And I started playing, I started learning chords, and it was fun, you know, but then it got boring because I kind of know the basics. I can play average songs, you know. I could put a barré chord. If you do not know what barré chord is when you press 2 or more strings with 1 finger. And it just got boring because I don't really like that music theory or those boring chords or anything like that. I just want to play, but I also understand, I just, you know, when I was learning to do a barré, it was hard. But then when I did it, I'm like, wow, it's so amazing that I did it. But then there were some chords where I could not do a barré. And I also was like, oh my God, again, this boring part starts again. And it's always like that. If I wouldn't practice enough, and I would just like be, okay, didn't turn out well, okay, just let's throw out the guitar, you know, then I wouldn't play the barré chord. And actually, it's not fun. Like, making up songs on guitar is fun. You can make it fun in some way, but most of the time it's gonna be boring. For example, I love reading, but sometimes it's so boring I have to force myself to read. I love to make videos for this channel, but sometimes I really would rather watch Suits. Like right now I'm watching Suits, and I was writing the script for this video for like 2 weeks because I was just distracting at Suits. I was distracted on the TV show, and I'm like, but that is so much interesting, that writing that script, you know? But the thing is, the way to know if you're on the right path is the rule of thirds. Third amount of time, it's fun, it's exciting, it's fun, it's novelty, it's something, you know, cool. Third amount of time, it's okay, you know. And third amount of time, it's terrible. You don't want to do it. You question why you do it. You question why you ever bothered to buy the guitar, you know, or start the YouTube channel. But that is the rule of thirds. It means that you're doing something right. When you are on the right path to achieving a goal, you will always feel these 3 things. And you might feel like, okay, I'm feeling this one more than excitement and so on. But the process of getting somewhere, that grind, is not fun. Waking up early when you'd rather stay in your warm bed and continue watching your dreams is not fun. Going to the gym when you really wanted to skip is not fun. It's meal prepping. It's working when no one is clapping you, when no one is noticing what you're doing. It's working even when you feel like you make no improvement and you feel like there's no difference. You just do the same thing over and over again, and you feel like it's redundant. It's you know, it doesn't bring you anything. But the thing is, you just have to keep going, because the grind is the only thing that will lead you to success, is the only thing that will help you to succeed. It's the only thing that will guarantee you success. I know that social media is selling to us this thing that, oh, make your life as fun as possible, if it's not fun for you, don't do it. If it's not interesting for you, don't do it, because if it's for you, it's gonna be always fun, but it's not. And I had this fascination in my life, like I found the thing that I want to do when I was a child, but then it just became boring. And I'm like, what does it mean? I loved it for so many years, but now it just became boring, and honestly, I'd rather watch a TV show or read a book than do this. What does it mean, And then I kind of got into it, and it doesn't have to be fun all the time. It's normal to feel bored of the thing you think is you're supposed to do. It's okay to feel bored. It's okay to feel like you're sick of it. It's okay. It's not always supposed to be fun. The same way relationships aren't supposed to be always fun. We think they are, and that's why we date people for a month and then we broke up with them, and then we search another person and we broke up with them, and because we always want it to be fun, we strive for that fun. But it's okay to be bored. That is actually privilege in being bored. In this world where entertainment is everywhere, being bored is actually a key. So if you're struggling with something and you feel like, I loved, for example, making music my entire life, or like doing that or this or that, but all of a sudden it became boring, it's fine. Anything you choose to be your career or something like that, you will suffer for it. Like if a person wants to be an actor, they should be ready to suffer from rejections, from a lot of rejections. They should be ready to work a lot of hours. There are certain things with every profession and with every choice you make that you have to be okay to suffer for. So being bored, it's okay. Being bored while achieving your goals is okay. Being sick, fed up by the same thing over and over again while achieving a goal is okay also. Yes, you can romanticize it and you can spark it up a little bit. That is actually what life is about, but most of the time it's gonna feel boring, it's gonna feel redundant, it's gonna feel difficult, it's gonna make you feel so mad and question you so many things, but that is a good thing. That means that you're on the right step, on the right path. So the next one, don't set too much goals. I have a question for you. When was the last time you did 20 things simultaneously successfully? Or even 10? Yeah, that's what I thought. Me, for example, when I put a TV show or like a movie to watch while I'll clean up, I find myself constantly either only cleaning up or either only watching the movie. There's no in between. I cannot just listen to it and just like, something happens and I'm like, what is going on there? I was folding the laundry. Who cares? The character died, But then I also just clean up and don't hear a word of that TV show or something like that. So what is the meaning of doing that if it's not, coexisting? Humans are very bad at multitasking, even though we would like to believe we are not. We would like to believe that, yeah, we can do it all in one day, in a year, and, we're great at multitasking. And that's great that people think that, but that is not true. If, for example, I were to go and wash dishes, I would totally be okay with playing an audiobook and I would remember the information from the audiobook. It wouldn't be overwhelming for me. I wouldn't have to focus on that and that and that and that. Because washing dishes doesn't really take a lot of my cognitive resources. So I have some free cognitive resources and I can use them to catch up what they are talking in the audiobook or in the podcast, or I could turn on that same TV show and I would understand them, because it doesn't really take a lot of cognitive resources to wash dishes or do anything like that, but it's personal, it's different for every person. So basically, the reason why we find task boring is because it takes much less cognitive resources to do than we actually have available. So for example, answering emails is boring because we have some free cognitive resources, and that's why it would be good to pair it with listening to music, to your favorite music, or to a podcast or something like that. But when you use too much of your cognitive resources, it's when you get overwhelmed, it's when you cannot focus on that or this or that or this, that, and you cannot properly do any of those things. You will, put on a TV show and do mail, you have to focus from the TV show to write your mail, but then you make a mistake because they said something, and like, you know, that's what I'm talking about. So the better way is to focus on 1-2 goals this year. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like, what? 1-2 goals? You kidding me? I can balance it all. Everyone does. I can also balance it all. So I'm gonna keep my 20 goals. I don't really need your advice. Thank you. But the thing is, we have been misled by the balance thing. We have been led to believe that we can balance it all. We can balance friendship, and we can balance work life and personal life, and we can balance our hobbies and loved ones and so many other things. But the truth is, we can't. And balance is really overrated, because if you want something, you do not squeeze it into your schedule. If you want something, you put it in front of your schedule. You don't really care, like, oh, someone is asking you out, you need to study. This is your priority. You need to study. You want to get into the university. That is your priority. Oh, you have, I don't know, hangout session with your friends. Oh, you can't do that. I have to work in order to get into that university and pay for that. So if you think that you're gonna squeeze in your goal into your tight schedule between all those 20 things that are not really necessary in your life, and you're gonna squeeze it in really tight in your schedule, that you're gonna get full result when you only half committing, you're crazy. You're insane. That is the definition of insanity, if you think that by half committing to something, you're gonna achieve full result. Because if you want something, you put it in front. It's a center for you. You don't really care about all these other things. You make time for that thing that you want, not the other way around. Not the way that, oh my God, I need to do this and that and this and that, and maybe later that evening I'll have time for my goal. Sure, you can do that, but then don't be, I don't know, surprised that after 10 years of working that system you haven't reached your goal yet. Find 1-2 goals and just focus on them very specifically. They should be your first thought in the morning. They should be your ignition that fires you up. All those other things should be afterthoughts. I'm not telling you to throw away all your goals and just like blindly follow one of them. I'm saying put it to the top. And all of those are going to be afterthought, because when we try to balance it all up, it's not a good thing, because some goals, mostly, usually, all the time, there are goals that are more important to us. But when we try to balance it all out, we make it in a way that, oh, they all equal. I want to learn French, but I also want to juggle, and I want to do splits, and I want to move out, and I want to travel the world, and I want to do this and this and that, and it just stays at the same level. But it's not. It's like this. Really depends on personal level, like what do you want from life, and so on and so forth. But just really, if you want to achieve that goal this year, focus on it. To one goal. Don't overwhelm yourself more. The next one is build systems, not goals. Yeah, writing down goals is cool, cute, fantastic, lovely, amazing, you know, but without system, it's nothing. If you're just gonna write down every year your New Year's resolution into this notebook, or whatever notebook you're using, and just like throw it out, and then in like December you're like, oh, where is it? It was somewhere, oh my God, I don't remember where it is, you know? I'm gonna open it up and like, oh, I'm disappointed because it didn't come true. Oh, well, okay. How could it? If the only time you looked at your goals was when you were writing them down. Yeah, of course, you could look them over a few times and like, oh my God, I was such a perfect, like, idealist. How could I think I could ever achieve that? You could, by setting a system. You know what system is? System is when you check in with your goals every day. You have your yearly goal, like 2025 resolution list, New Year's resolution, or whatever year it is you're watching it in. And from there, every quarter, just set quarterly goals. Then every month, monthly goals, every week, weekly goals, and every day, daily goals. And maybe search for some prompts on Pinterest, like, how is the task doing? For example, maybe you wanted to start a podcast and you're like, how is it doing? Like, I'm gonna check in with myself. And you could take this system, for example, like, it's doing great, like I'm working on it, green sticker. It's kind of not doing well right now. I'm not doing anything, but I have a plan how to improve it, how to keep forward. It's orange sticker. And actually, I have not been doing anything with that goal, red sticker. You have to keep yourself accountable, because if you're not, no one else is gonna. So just do that. And it's gonna be so amazing when you write quarterly goals from your yearly goal, and monthly goals from your quarterly goals and your yearly goal. And you just do that, and you write them down, and you look them over every day and think about them every day. And the thing is, a few things happen. The first one is when you regularly write down your goals, you have an increase of 42% of achieving your goal. If someone would tell me just write down your goal and write down your goals and there's 42% increase that you're gonna achieve them, I would be like, sure, give me the pen. Give me the pen right now. I'm gonna, 42%, it's almost 50. Can you, that is insane. That only by writing them down, it increases at 42%. The next thing is when we on the market to buy red Volvo, we're gonna see red Volvo everywhere. The same thing is with opportunities. If you know what your goal is and it's on the top of your mind, you are more prone to notice opportunities regarding that goal. You're like, oh, they are renting a podcast studio. I want to make a podcast. Okay, I should call this number. I should, and you're gonna notice all these little things, and not little, and all these things, because again, our brain, when we want something, when we're on the market for something, the perfect example was with red Volvo. You can see how much I don't understand in cars, since I'm referring to a car like red Volvo. I don't know any models of cars. I don't know. If you're on the market for Tesla X, you'll start seeing Tesla X everywhere. Me, for example, when I bought a guitar, I started noticing in people's videos online guitars, and I'm like, oh my god, didn't know that so many people had guitars, So weird. And right now I'm thinking of buying a piano, and I'm like, oh, I didn't notice how many people I follow that already own a piano, and how many of them are actually playing the piano. That is so insane. How did I not notice it, That's just the thing our brain does. So set systems, not goals, because systems is what will help you keep going when the motivation fades. And it will inevitably fade sooner or later. Rather sooner than later, actually. One of the biggest lies we tell to ourselves is that we don't have time. So open up your phone and check your screen time. And that is what you found time for. Now open your to-do list, look over it, and that is what you claim you don't have time for. Being busy, not having time, is not productive. It's toxic for you. It's redundant, because busyness and productivity are two different things, and it always inevitably leads to burnout. The truth is, you always have time. It's just not your priority at the moment. You need to finish an assignment and you claim that you don't have time, but then later that evening you scroll through TikTok for 3 hours. So you really do have time. Just writing that essay wasn't priority for you. The thing which I watched today, and I didn't initially put in my script for this video, is that our brain has this flow state thing, that after 15 minutes of doing something, our brain gets into this flow state and we just dive into that task flawlessly. We're just in the flow state. If, for example, you know that you need to clean up your house and you're like, oh, I don't like that. I hate it so much. Why should I do it? And you put on some music and you dread it so much and you're like, okay, I just need to get through it. After 10 minutes, you already it's not that bad. It's not that awful, But then you're just kind of in the flow state. The time is just whoop, passes really fast. I don't know what that was, but the time passes really fast when you in that flow state. So give it 15 minutes. I know that there is a thing count to 5 to start doing something, spend 3 minutes, and then, there's so many things, but I actually love the flow state because it's, looking back at my life, it's so actually true. The next one is that, sure, we can blame technology, life, or lack of opportunities for our failing and not getting where we want to be, but to be fair, our phone is just a tool. If we're gonna choose to make it a toy, then no wonder it's gonna distract us. If we're gonna use it as a resource, then no wonder it's gonna help us. And if we want to blame life for example, for our failing, because it's unfair, which it actually is. But the thing is, we can blame whatever we want for our failing, quote unquote, or feeling behind. Sure, we're gonna fail if we're gonna wait for the perfect moment, if we're gonna just sit, watch TikToks and like, oh, one day I'm gonna feel like it. One day I'm gonna just, stand up and go climb that mountain. Yeah, I just feel like one day it's gonna be. Right now, I'm not feeling it. Newsflash, you're not gonna feel it most of the time. For example, I know there's a guy on the internet who runs like 3 years in a row every day. He doesn't feel like running every day in whatever weather condition it is, in snow, in rain, in cold. He doesn't. No one does. The same thing is with everything else. Most of the time, we're not gonna feel like doing it. But waiting for the perfect moment is setting ourselves for failure. Because the thing is, you are the one that has to align themselves with their goals and not the other way around. You have to start an action. If you want to feel good after a workout, you have to work out. You're not gonna just sit on the couch eating potato chips and like, okay, I'll work out when I feel like it. It's not gonna be soon. It's not gonna be soon. Or I'll write a book when I will want to write. No. It doesn't work like that. Action creates motivation. Motivation doesn't really pop out of the air. It doesn't pop out when you watch motivational video where a guy who's running shirtless, screaming at you like, come on, get up. It doesn't work. I watched it. I remember watching those videos when I was like 14 and I'm like, yeah, it's a peak of motivation. It's gonna give me so much motivation. And then I closed my laptop and I'm like, weird. Why they always scream in those videos, Motivation is not gonna produce itself. You have to produce it. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Also, if you feel like there is no opportunities coming your way, you're wrong. Because there's literally so many opportunities, you just have to grab them. If you're gonna wait for them to be served on a silver platter, sure, you're not gonna feel like there's enough opportunities for you. But if you're gonna go and grab them by yourself, sure, there's enough opportunities for you. There's literally anything you want to learn. There are videos of that online for free on YouTube or on Coursera or on other paid websites. It's everywhere. If you want to, you can. If you don't want to, you'll find a million excuses of why not do it. It's not time yet. I didn't get the pretty notebook yet. I need to find a lamp so it will be cozier. Or I need to buy a candle because I cannot work without a candle. Or, you can find so many excuses, but sit and do it. Just do it. At least for 15 minutes until you're in that flow state. I don't know, I'm making wave. The last one is tie your goals to your identity. If, for example, your goal is to run a marathon, you're a runner. If your goal is to start a YouTube channel, you're a YouTuber. You're not just someone who runs or someone who makes videos. You're a YouTuber, a runner. Because if you feel like, oh, I don't feel like posting this week, I just don't want to work on this. I just want to, stop maybe for a few weeks. Then you're like, yeah, sure. I just make YouTube videos. I can choose whatever I want. But when you tie your goal into this, like, I'm a YouTuber, like, I have to. Like, that is what I am. I make YouTube videos. If I'm gonna stop. There's a point to which you could make it toxic. Doubt it's that possible, You could tie your goal to your identity so much that you would be like, oh, I'm nothing without succeeding in this goal. But it's not about that. You're an amazing and capable and great human being without ever achieving that goal. You're deserving of love and support and respect, and it doesn't matter if you achieved that goal or if you didn't, or if you opened the business or if you didn't. If someone tells you that, oh, you need to earn my respect by doing something, or you need to do that is not the way. You're already worthy and you're already great by being here, by being who you are, and you don't have to prove anyone anything. But that thing of like tying your goals to your identity is what helps you to achieve it more. Have you ever met a lawyer who's like, oh, I wouldn't call myself a lawyer. I just love to practice law a little bit. I just, This thing of like tying your goal to your identity is more about confidence and about being a verb instead of just noun. It's about taking an action. So I hope this video helped you. I hope that you will take those New Year's resolutions from your drawer or notes app and you're gonna do something about them and you're gonna keep yourself accountable. And I also want you to remember that you're already enough, you're already worthy, you're already amazing and deserve to be loved, and you're such an amazing person. Like, achieving your goals doesn't make you more lovable, doesn't make you more, for some people out there, like if someone becomes famous, other people are like, oh my god, he's so pretty, I never noticed how pretty he was, or like how funny she is, but you are already enough, you're already worthy enough. So don't ever tie your self-esteem to how many goals you're reaching or something like that, because you're already actually lit, you're amazing. I love you. You're so cool. Actually, you're so cool that you watched this video till the end. Makes you the coolest person I know. So, okay, I hope you have an amazing day and that you also subscribed, like this video, and send it to your friend and wrote something down below. Maybe you have something to share. Maybe you have some trick that helps you to stay accountable and reach your New Year's resolutions. So just write them down there. I'm really interested to know. So, bye. I'll see you in a few weeks or in a few seconds if you want to watch any of my videos. Take care. Bye.